Welcome to the TheDNazChannel. Today, we're going to be talking about the information theory. That's right, the theory of information. And you might say, DNaz, what the hell is the theory of information? And really, there's a lot to get to if you want to understand it. So I guess we should start way back. Way back. I don't have an editor, I forgot. There's no effects. Don't worry. We will be upgrading shortly. But today, let's go back to Aristotle and Plato. So, if any of you guys ever learned anything about history, probably haven't. Some of you might have. But Plato is like one of the founders of like a society, right? He wrote a lot of different things on philosophy, and so did Aristotle. Aristotle was his student, right? There's a famous Roman painting of Plato and Aristotle together there in the academy, the old academy, the one example of an academy, if you don't know what a true academy is, was the Library of Alexander. Nonetheless, they're there. And Plato in the painting is pointing up, holding his book, De Republica. And then Aristotle is to his left, I believe, and he is pointing down, holding his book, Metaphysics. That's right, Aristotle is the father of metaphysics, you know. So the symbolism in this painting, because Plato was pointing up, it's because Plato was always referring to the heavens. His theory, his philosophy about how the world worked, what the world is, it has to do with the heavens. He believes in an outer realm. He actually believes in three realms. So let's get into it. He believes the first realm is forms, right? Now, it's the form of something. Like something is a form before it is brought into reality. So this level of existence, this plane of reality, this is the Eidos, okay? This is where the ether is, right? Dark matter. This is where what we can't see, what we can't get to, but is there surrounding our universe, right? This is the information cloud, as what I would translate it as to you. This is like the information cloud. Think of a cloud like the iCloud. Think of the iCloud, but the iCloud is here on Earth. You know, we live in the iCloud, right? Information is flowing everywhere, all around us at all times, right? Like, think of the Earth's magnetic field. Think of just like information, like ones and zeros just flowing all around there, right? Fucking A. So, so we're in the iCloud. The iCloud is where ideas come from, all right? So the ideas are fucking floating around us all the time, and our brain is an antenna. I hit myself. Jesus. And my brain is an antenna, right? And it's picking up these ones and zeros, this information that is just information just always going around us. And our brain is this big sensor, right? And it's picking up all the signals from the information around us. Our brain is registering everything, and it's taking our eyes, or like they render, like a computer renders and loads. Our eyes load the world around us. It takes information in from everything. This is red, this is black, this is, you know, this is a right angle, this is brown, this is a table, this is a chair. It takes all the information and processes it, and our eyes are seeing. It takes the light that bounces off an object or that is emitted from objects into our eyes, okay? And our eyes perceive that. It takes in that information, right? So this is why I am all for this information theory. So let's get back to Plato. So he believes there's 3 levels of this. So let's say he's in the iCloud. The iCloud's the first level, right? This is where our brain receives the thought. This is where the thought of an idea. Let's say you're a creator. We are the creators. We are the gods, right? We are the ones that create. Humans are the ones that create in this universe. So we are getting our ideas from this iCloud, right? Then our brain pulls it into the second realm of existence. Remember, this is Plato. This is Plato's beliefs. Into the second realm of existence, which is in our brain, where the thought manifests, where it processes, right? Now it's in the processor of the computer. It's there. The program's there, right? Okay, so now this is where it is. Then he believes, so that is like a copy of the original form. Okay? So he believes that after you're in the second, now you got the second copy in your head, then you manifest it into reality. This is the third copy. This is our realm. The copy of the copy. As he says, we are imperfect. Plato believes there is nothing perfect. We are imperfect. So, I get where he's coming from on this, but Aristotle, as a good student always does, challenges his teacher. He challenged his teacher like a good student does. And he says, no, that is ludicrous. You are insane. 3 realms, copy. No, the only universe is this one. That's it, right? But he still, as a student of Plato, believes in the forms, right? But he calls them, well, they're forms. They're still forms. But he believes the forms have essences. So what he's saying is we're on this realm in the air. There's this information cloud, right? In this cloud is the beginning form of something. A form, like a chair, right? There's the form of the chair, right? But then there's essences to the chair. Has an armrest. It's brown. It's got a back. It's got legs, right? But if you took this chair and you smashed it into pieces, right? Would it still be the chair? Kinda. It's a chair, but it's fucked up, right? It's got scratches. It's broken here. Maybe it's not in pieces. Maybe it's still together, but it's broken, right? It was beat to hell, right? So you'd say it's kind of a chair, right? The original form of something was the chair. The essences are all the attributes of the chair, making it a thing, making it something, but it is not the form, which is perfect, right? The perfect form. Okay, according to Aristotle. Aristotle did believe in a God, and he believed that because everything is imperfect, only God can conceive the perfect because it could not conceive of imperfection. Something like that. Don't quote me. By the way, fact check me on everything. Please, always fact check people. Don't just believe one asshole like myself. But I'm going to keep going. So, now you have all these essences, and he helped develop science because he said, no, let's look at the world around us. Science has to be based on the world around us, right? We have to rule out, we have to take the information from the world around us and rule out possibilities to get theories. Hypothesis to test theories, right? So, let's fast forward about 1,000 years or something. Ibn Sina. It's a great philosopher. You barely heard of him. Let me get into why you haven't heard of Mideastern philosophers. So you are told that the Dark Ages, which is technically the years that Rome fell, we're told that they fell in like 349 or whatever, or 450. I forget the dates. Again, don't listen to me. But Rome fell, and in the 1,000-year span that has fallen before the Renaissance, before knowledge again, it was saying that there was no philosophy, there was no creation, there was no invention during that 1,000-year span, during 400 AD to 1400. That is ridiculous. Okay, but that was the European world. Remember, Americans are really thinking European world, the Western civilization, right? But forget, we came from the East. This all developed around this conversation, around the time period we're talking, right? Through the years. So during the Dark Ages, they weren't the Dark Ages because if you knew about the Middle East, you would know there was great, groundbreaking science and philosophy being made in the Middle East during the so-called Dark Ages. Now, Ibn Sina was one philosopher, and polymath. Learn that word, polymath. You want to know about great people in our history that have great knowledge? Look up the polymaths. Pythagoras, You look up, I don't have to tell you. I shouldn't have to tell you. But, so, you look up the polymaths, get acquainted with them, because they hold the real knowledge, and they left thousands of books for us to read. Thousands, written in Greek, Arabic, all sorts of old languages, right? So, Ibn Sina, on the information theory, he was the first person to say, well, I'm not going to say he said anything because I'm not quoting here, but he brought the idea of entropy. He was taking the laws of entropy, right? We have the laws of entropy. And you got to think of the laws of entropy as information, because think of our system as order. The world is in an ordered system, right? Then chaos comes in. It disturbs something. That disturbance might be the heat, the friction between atoms, making entropy, making energy. Now we know energy cannot be created or destroyed. Whatever's here is here, right? So, think of a computer with ones and zeros, right? In the beginning, that computer is just 111111000. Or 010101, right? Then when a piece of information goes into it, now it's 11001100. The order, that computer system was perfect until information went on it. Then things were disrupted. Think of the universe as that. Chaos happens. Things get disrupted. That makes entropy. That makes our energy, right? There's energy in the world, right? Since the beginning of time, now Ibn Sina calculated this, since the beginning of time, right? Information happens. Let's just say, let's think like a computer is waking up into a new game, a video, right? Or you're just a brand new person and you're waking up into the world, into this new game, into life. 2025. I'm just here. I woke up, right? Now I'm looking around me. I'm like, oh my God, this wall's red and black, and and the colors of this painting. All the information just pinging, ping, right? Let's say information started now, because I just woke up here. Information started now. I have 5 fingers. I have 5 toes on each leg and hand. I got a head. all this information. Think about how vast information is. The shirt, it's short sleeves, it's green, it's got stripes, it's got a zipper, it's got a. Think of all. Sorry, I probably hit that. Think of all the information that the world needs to run since the beginning of time. Information has been adding up, right? So, only as time moves forward, information increases, as entropy only increases as time goes on. Entropy only increases, information only increases as time goes on, right? We started here, we woke up here. Since then, I have breathed, the colors have I've noticed this, I've taken it. Since then, I have intaked millions of information, pieces of information through my brain, through my senses. As time goes on, since I woke up here and now until this moment and going forward, information only gets larger. The amount of information only increases as time goes on. So, Ibn Sina said, well, if information only increases as time goes on, then you can trace information back as far back and back and back to a single point where the universe only has just the right amount of information it needs to function as a universe. Okay. That is what we call the Big Bang. Information going back in time until we are consolidated into the star system, until we start into nothing. Boom. 1000 AD, 1,000 years before we think that we had the Big Bang Theory, Ibn Sina had it. During the Dark Ages. This is heavy stuff. Now, someone else who talked about it, Jason Giordiani, right? He talked about the information theory. He talked about it on Danny Jones' great podcast, right? And he talked about how a computer, the hard drive, right? As the computer sits, you get a brand new computer. After you start saving your first pieces of information on that computer, if you were to weigh that disk, or because the information was now added to that computer now weighs more than it did when it was brand new, because more information is there. Because if you're thinking about entropy and information, you got to think when they were looking at the planets, how they discovered dark matter was they were looking at the planets, and someone, I don't know the name, noticed the light bending from here, because a star from here, the light travels, right? The light bending, it did not mathematically add up. The light, okay, so they're trying to measure the light around it. Now they're saying, okay, this doesn't mathematically make sense. There must be a gravitational force outside of the solar system, of the planets, in order to make this light bend like this, right? There must be a gravitational force. That is dark matter. Okay, that is when we started to predict dark matter. That was one of the first reasons how we started to predict dark matter, right? So information, if that is dark matter, right? Adding up, you can't see it. You can't see it. You can't touch it. You can't hold it. So this is something that exists in our universe that we can't see, can't touch, but has weight, has a gravitational pull. That is just like information that you store on your computer. You can't see it, you can't hold it, you can't touch it, but it's there and it's taking up space. Now, all the space in the world, I think they say right now, all the data, even of all the internet, everything, all the data we have in the world, I think it only weigh about a kilogram right now. But information is increasing so fast that in a few hundred years, we might be creating so much mass from information because it's just going to keep increasing by the fold, by the tenfold, right? As more things happen and more possibilities, all the possibilities of each little thing happening, like describing like a pencil dropping, or it's falling, it's turning, how did it drop, how did it spin, how fast did it go, what color's the pencil, this, that information, think how fast it adds up every second, not just in your life and everyone's life, add it together. If that's all mass, if that is mass, then the earth or this realm, it can implode on itself storing all this data, right? So it's just a crazy theory, just something to think about, right? Some like a center of mass getting so heavy because it's accumulating over time that it folds in on itself. Nonetheless, whether that gets figured out or not, the truth is that information only goes on as time goes on, just like entropy only increases as time increases. We covered a lot of shit. What's scary is all this makes perfect sense for this to be an informational world. Why? Just give you some examples of how. Remember, I told you about the iCloud and all this information just going around us at the same time, right? And our brain just picking it up like an antenna. Remember, let's say you want to change your mood, you're really just switching like the frequency around that. I know you've heard this. So you're like a radio. So there's different frequencies you could be on. And you're tuning your brain like the radio. Like a radio, has different stations, you're tuning it to different frequencies. Each one of us has our own frequency, right? So information is riding on frequency waves. So maybe on better frequency waves, more positive frequency waves, more positive information is residing there, right? Like, let's say words like happy and things like, a good a day, a cool breeze, soaking in sunshine, like all these ideas, right? Maybe they exist on a frequency that is just beautiful, a beautiful frequency, right? And when your brain senses information from that frequency, you are filled with emotion and joy and love, right? Same goes where if you're on a bad frequency and you catch a low baritone frequency and hate comes in and you ride this wave, right? Maybe words like hate ride on that frequency, words like kill, harm, right? Things like that ride on that frequency, right? Then you get this intake of low, right? This low intake on this frequency, right? The information is coming into our processing system that we are and making us just by saying words, you could feel a certain way. I could just say hate and hate, right? And you could feel it. Or I could say love, like I love you. I love you. You are beautiful. The world is beautiful. Look out every day and the sun is shining, right? You have love everywhere. You got family and friends and things are great, right? Filled with joy. Filled with joy. So think of how information and words affect us. Think of how the world around us gets affected by different information and things happening, right? Give it a thought. Give it a thought. And your brain might get as fucked up as mine because mine's exploding. Mine's just it's exploding because we're here, because this is where we go on the DNaz channel. So tune in next time. We'll talk about some more crazy mind-blowing shit. Adios.